Welcome back to End Times Prophecy News. Good morning. From Angry Patriot Movement, we got San Francisco voters approve minimum wage increase. Then something surprising happens. Minimum wage isn't supposed to be a living wage. Those jobs are there for entering the workforce to gain experience. Messing with that dynamic is bound to cause disaster. Restaurants are shutting down across San Francisco as the city implements their increase in a minimum wage. A new study by Harvard Business School reports that a $1 raise in minimum wage will cause up to 10% of restaurants to close. While the results of the study are not surprising, it is shocking how even a $1 change can cause hundreds of restaurants to shut down for good. The minimum wage in San Francisco is currently set at $13 per hour. Can you believe this? The city plans to increase the wage by $1 in July of 2017 and another $1 by the next year. The study estimates that the Bay Area is home to around 6,000 restaurants. If the Harvard study is correct, then we can expect 240 to 600 restaurants to close when the minimum wage increases in July. The study also concluded that the higher minimum wage will cause fewer businesses to open, as entrepreneurs are less willing to take the risk of starting a business in such a hostile climate. Lower quality restaurants will take the largest hit, as they are often operating at low margins. The scientists evaluated the quality of restaurants based on Yelp reviews and determined that only 5-star restaurants would be unaffected. The high-quality restaurants can cope with the increased cost of employees by working them harder and charging more. However, the wage increase will affect average 3.5-star restaurants and cause 14% of them to close as well. While the study only focused on restaurants that are heavily dependent on minimum wage employees, similar effects are likely to occur across the sectors that employ low-skilled workers. And this is what Governor Brown wants for, California, because he wants to destroy it, and he wants to sell it as if I'm giving you more money for minimum wage. But what good is minimum wage if you're making no money because there is no jobs? The failure of the San Francisco wage hike should act as a warning, as many liberals call for a nationwide minimum wage of $15. But that's not going to happen. The changes in San Francisco are indicative of a larger problem in the American economy. Minimum wage jobs were never intended to provide full-time work for adults. They were supposed to allow people with spare time to earn a few extra dollars. San Francisco made the problem for themselves. The home to Silicon Valley is one of the largest abusers of H-1B visas, which of course Donald Trump just fixed today. The tech companies bring in cheap foreign workers to fill entry-level positions that would normally help young Americans transition from a minimum wage job into a meaningful career. Now, small businesses will be forced to bear the brunt of the cost of the foreign workers brought on by the multi-billion-dollar tech companies, or as Democrats call it, progress. Do you know a business that will be forced to close due to a minimum wage increases? Please share the story. And multiple people just killed in shooting spree that I reported earlier in Fresno, California. Allahu Akbar. A shooting spree in downtown Fresno, California has left 3 people dead. The shooter has been identified as Corey Ali Muhammad. A Black Lives Matter, white racist, or whatever you want to call it, hates whites. 3 people were killed and 1 other person injured was in a series of shootings Tuesday at several locations in downtown Fresno, police said. The shootings were unprovoked and a total of 16 rounds were fired in less than an hour at 4 different locations. Why wasn't the police there before half an hour got over? Officers arrested the suspect, Corey Ali Muhammad, 39, after the shootings. The weapon used in the shooting spree hasn't been found, Fresno police said. Muhammad is also a suspect in a shooting that happened at a Motel 6 last week. He faces 4 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. And look what the Fresno killer screamed. Allahu Akbar, of course. Reporting from Fresno, California, man shouted Allahu Akbar. Too early to say if Fresno shooting spree involves terrorism, but suspect yelling Allahu Akbar gives that indication. Police chief, too early to say if Fresno shooting spree involves terrorism, but suspect yelling Allahu Akbar gives that indication. Too early to say. Okay. Yeah, there he is being arrested. He should have been shot in the head. Or hang from a, a light pole. Something like that. Works for me. Yeah, hang over the, right in the middle of the intersection. So that everyone can see. This man tried to shoot 6 people dead today. Let this be a lesson to you, folks. Anyone else wants to do the same. President Trump blasts Jon Ossoff after learning about this. Just learned that Jon Ossoff who is running for Congress in Georgia, doesn't even live in the district. Yes, we heard that earlier, and he can't even vote for himself. Look what Paul Ryan has been doing. My visit to Norway with the congressional delegation was a great opportunity to reaffirm the strong relationship between our countries. Oh, that's just fine and dandy, Mr. Rhino. And 20,000 drug convictions dismissed, all because of this one nice person. A lab chemist has pled guilty to tampering with evidence and falsifying test results in thousands of drug-related cases. Another nasty swamp creature, probably a Muslim. It just seems to always go back to those Muslims. But I could be wrong. I'm just assuming that she could be a Muslim. Because of the lab chemist's widespread criminal misconduct in analyzing drug samples, about 95% of 20,000 drug convictions in Massachusetts have been dismissed, according to the American Civil Liberties Union of Massachusetts. That is, remember, and the Muslim community over there, where we have this guy who's going around trying to start Sharia laws in Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota, not Massachusetts. Forgive me. That is a victory for regular people, for people who've been tarnished by these drug convictions, said Carl Williams, a staff attorney for the ACLU. Those drug convictions had relied on analysis from Annie Duquesne, a former chemist for the Department of Public Health. Duquesne worked testing drug samples submitted by law enforcement agencies from 2003 to 12 and paid off by Obama, probably, when investigators accused her of contaminating drug samples, falsifying results, and mishandling evidence. Investigators said she admitted to intentionally contaminating some samples to turn them from negative samples to positive samples. She also admitted to dry labbing, in which she tested a few samples but reported the same results for multiple other samples. Duquesne pleaded guilty in November of 2013 to 27 criminal counts in all, only the ones that she was caught with, including charges of perjury, evidence tampering, and obstruction of justice. She was sentenced to 3 to 5 years in prison and released last year. In all, the scandal cast doubt on drug testing analysis in about 40,000 cases from 2003 to 12. More than 20,000 convictions of those remain against so-called Duquesne defendants. What a disgusting, vile creature. And you let her out already? You need to deport her. Send her back to the country her mom and dad would lived in, whatever. Get her out of here. Another disgusting creature. Thank you for listening. God bless.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin